Have you ever wondered where have the smiles disappeared to? When did it become too hard to smile, or maybe you're smiling here, but everything in you is just sad? Today, I want to help you understand that joy is not about your circumstances. It's about what's going on inside of you and how you're interpreting all of that. And a lack of joy impacts more things than you realize. Did you know that optimistic people who have joy will have 30 to 40% less heart attacks and live longer? So, what if you could flip a switch and rediscover a smile that goes all the way through you? Today, I'm going to help you understand the price of living without joy, what it's doing to you, the things that steal your joy, but more importantly, what you can do to flip the switch and experience joy. And please stay tuned to the end because the stories are just always the best. Having been someone that dealt with a lot of depression years and years ago after the birth of our daughter, I know what it's like when you feel like life just isn't worth living. For me, it led to 2 suicide attempts because I just felt like I was a failure. Nothing I was doing was working. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to isolate because heaven forbid that you have to talk to people and be nice when everything in you is lonely and empty and you don't feel like you have any answers. And everything that somebody suggests that you do either doesn't work or it looks too hard. Well, clearly, after 2 attempts, I'm still here. And in those ensuing years of about 38 years, as a naturopath and wisdom coach, specialist in digestion and neurologist, I have learned that you can turn that around and not live in that lonely isolation. But you know what? Come 2020, a whole lot of that changed. What had been so easy to do with tens of thousands of clients from around the world, it shifted because our brains, not only for those of you dealing with a lack of joy, our brains were in overwhelm. They didn't know how to handle the rate of change going on. Life became unpredictable, unknown, unfamiliar. All of that coupled with a lack of joy, it was intimidating and it shut a whole lot of people down. And the tools that I'd been using for so long, they weren't enough. They didn't move fast enough. And I was like, what can I do? That's when I really start looking for options, not just for what it will do for myself or my family, but for all these people that I really care about in our community. And one of the things I began to notice in looking at this joy, that there's a lot of things stealing our joy. We don't sleep well because too much is going through our brain. We don't digest our food well. We're putting on weight. Our skin's a mess. Our brain's a mess. So many things are going on. The toxic load is increasing. There's so much stealing our joy that a lot of people have forgotten what joy feels like. Joy feels like you look forward to the day. You're actually able to sleep because you go to bed with gratitude. And you find that, well, I can deal with this. Confidence returns, the desire to be with people and enrich your relationships. You may be saying, Cheryl, that's a nice little phrase, but that is not where I'm at. And I don't have the capacity to go through years of rehab and counseling to try and shift all of my problems. I get it. What if I could show you something that could help you actually do that with your brain, work with your brain, and flip on the joy switch? Actually, it's pretty easy because there's a joy patch. Now, you may think that is goofy. Well, that's what I thought when I first saw these. For over a year and a half, they sat on one of our shelves in our shipping room, and I ignored it until I listened to a surgeon who talked about what she did as the leading colorectal surgeon in the United States with robotic surgery. That what was going on with the brain, the vagus nerve, the gut, she was talking all the language I understand: neurology, digestion, toxicity. She said when you can put brain pathways back into balance, everything in the healing process changes. I understood that. I had one of the largest epiphanies when I heard that, because I know that the brain runs everything, not our circumstances, not our food, not our exercise. This. And when it's programmed in lack of joy, life seems insurmountable. So I decided, let's play, notice, and discover. 3 of my key words. Let's play with what happens with me. Let's play with what happens with clients. Let's see what happens. So first of all, what are these little patches? Well, they're about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. They have a backing on it. And when you peel the backing off, it's got little ridges. And those ridges are like a QR code or a phone number. When you put it on your skin, someplace where there's no nerve damage, no hair, no scar tissue, then those signals instantly go through your skin to your nervous system, to the brain, and in this case, it goes right to the part of the brain where the amygdala and the emotions are to turn on joy. Instantly. How do we know? EEG testing. Yes, when EEG testing has been done with these patches before, and you've got a dysregulated, dysfunctional brain pathway, and you put the patch on, within seconds, that brain pathway is in balance. Do you realize how huge that is? That's like amazing. That's not waiting a year or 2 years for supplements to kick in or for emotional work to kick in. It's fast. It's that fast. And as soon as you take off the patch, it goes back to dysregulated. So I thought, okay, let's see what happens when we hit the rubber to the road. What happens when real people try it? Because I certainly noticed it helped me when I had that low level Eeyore feeling. I don't like that. It helped me, but I thought, I've done lots and lots of work, like decades of work. What about people that don't have the time, energy, or inclination to spend decades? What happens with them? Are you ready for those stories? These are what absolutely caused my heart to go pitter-patter as a healer, because this means lives are being changed. The first person, I just finished my Yom Kippur fast from sundown last night until now, getting ready to go to work. No food, no water for 24 hours. I was wearing the Joy patch and one of the others, Liberty for Balance, and they got me right through. This has been the easiest fast I've ever done. It's grueling to have no food and no water, but I went through it like a breeze. Who would have thought that joy could help you experience fasting or food changes and it isn't as hard? That's pretty significant. Well, this one's a lot of fun. This came from a spouse who said, she said, don't share this by name, but my husband wearing the peace patch, wearing the joy patch, is going through the house singing. He's not done that since we've been married. It's totally changing our relationship. Grumpy is not nearly as much fun as joyful. This one is just very special. Joy is my very favorite product. People get a sense of happiness, optimism, and positivity. Our life becomes immensely more fulfilling because we can be fearless. We can be joyful. That optimism has happened in my life in so many ways, and now I understand joy makes a difference. So it's so simple. You simply take out a patch, peel off the backing, put it on, let that signal get to your brain, and it turns on the joy process. What would happen if you just had a little bit more joy and a smile came a little bit more easily and you actually had a song in your heart that you just wanted to get out? And what if you could do things in life like eating and fasting and exercising and it wasn't laborious and painful? Joy. There's a reason why love, peace, and joy are so important in our lives. And if joy has been escaping you, isn't it time to just play with it, notice what it does for you, and discover the impact of a life that has some joy? So get back to the person who sent you to this video or look at the information down in the description, because it's my greatest delight to see you become the whole person you've been created to be.